All right, guys, I'm just going to go over the prompt again just quickly, just as a friendly reminder about what is expected for this particular project. I'm only asking for a 1.5 page minimum of a 12-point font double-spaced review of a movie. I do want you to include criteria because this is kind of a review slash analysis, really, when it comes down to it. So, and then use specific examples from the movie to kind of show how they met this criteria or didn't. So some of these criteria can be acting, musical score, writing, cinematography, emotional impact, originality, directing, visual effects, costumes, etc. If you can think of something else you might like to explore, you have the freedom to do that in this particular paper. You do not have to cover all of these, but I want you to choose at least 3. Don't give me a plot summary again. Just add enough information without giving too much away. You can also, if you want to, hit on character development, plot, theme, exigence. Why do you think they created the movie? If you wish. Your audience is going to be a peer group, and I want you to pretend like if the school had a school newspaper, or it might be presented on the morning announcements. This is where it's going to be presented. So you can have a slightly less formal tone to this if you would like that. But also consider constraints that might be placed on you based off of this, such as language and length. You wouldn't want it to be too terribly long. So, don't give me like a 5-page review. As I said, at least 1.5 pages, but if you wanted to go on to 2 pages or even 3 pages, it will be fine. So this is going to be due Friday, October 21st at 11:59 p.m. And I do have a student example that I was just going to show you a little bit of. So you can read this. It's going to be in D2L for you to see in the content section. But this particular student wrote a paper on the pursuit of happiness. And yes, the why, that's the name of the movie. So when I see those red squiggly lines while I'm grading, I'm like, yeah, I know that's the title of the movie, so it's perfectly fine. Some good things about this paper. So the first paragraph is actually pretty good. It kind of draws you in, where it says a father's love can be one of the most important and strongest feelings out there. Yes, that is amazing. A lot of us can relate to that, whether or not we have a good or bad relationship with our father. So it automatically puts the audience in that mindset of, oh, we're talking about family relationships. Is this what this movie is going to be all about? Sometimes you may not feel love from hearing the words "I love you." Instead, you will see that love as they work, sacrifice, and give their all for their family. Because sometimes people have a really hard time saying "I love you," and I think that that's part of what goes into this movie. So the first paragraph is really good; it draws you in. They chose the next paragraph to talk about the theme, which is something that you could bring in if you wanted to. And in that theme, they give just a little bit of background of the movie, like just enough plot summary, so that way if someone has not seen the movie, then they can kind of get an idea of what the movie is about, and it kind of helps make the other criteria that they are going to be discussing in the paper make a little bit more sense. So we know who the main character is, Chris Gardner. He had trouble providing for his family. They wind up homeless. And then at the very end, this is where I might tell the student, hey, don't tell us that he became a self-made millionaire. That kind of gives away the ending of the book. I would probably say something more along the lines of, with his perseverance and determination and the loving trust of his son, Chris maybe finds his dreams come true or something like that. But maybe not be so specific, because remember, when you're kind of giving an analysis, but you're kind of doing it as a review, you don't want to give away the ending. So in this case, I don't want you to give away the ending, but just leave just enough mystery. But you can say that, there's an inspiring ending that would make us want to see it without telling us exactly what happened. So they kind of bring in the emotions right here. So right here it says, while watching this film, emotions will arise as it follows a harsh reality for some Americans. Many struggle with money, which can cause breaks in families and homelessness. It's a little bit repetitive from the top because he's already stated that, so that part might need just to be revised a little bit. So yeah. And right here, this paragraph is supposed to be about the director. The fact that this movie is based off of a true story just brings that extra level of passion, and the director did his best to remain true to the real life experiences of the characters. I would probably mention it at the beginning that in this paragraph, you're going to be talking about the director. So maybe I might move this last sentence right here to the beginning of this paragraph, because I think if they did that, that would just give it an extra, that then we would know that this whole paragraph is about the direction, rather than we don't really know until the end, because it just seems like we're just talking about emotional impact here. So yeah, moving that sentence would go a really long way in kind of fixing that paragraph and kind of talking about, and maybe here watching this movie feels so real, it does not feel like scenes are being recorded, but rather that the director is using a hidden camera while following the main characters around. And again, that would bring back attention to the fact that the criteria that you are exploring in this particular paragraph is the direction. Okay, going to the next. So the best thing, and that's another thing too, the best thing the director, Gabriel Muccino, so you need to mention that back here. If you're going to be talking about the direction, mention who the director is in the paragraph where you're talking about directing. So again, that is another correction I would have told the student that they need to do. Here they're talking about acting choices. Will Smith was an excellent cast choice because he had a good reputation. Now I know we had the slap incident at the Oscars. This was written before that, but he does have a reputation for being talented, and his name does draw attention to audiences. So I think that was a good point to make. And the fact that they also cast his son, his real life son, as to the realism of the story and the plot line. So I like here where it says there's a genuine passion and relationship that exists between them. So right here, I would probably say, that's really good, but let's add like a brief description of one of the scenes from the movie that shows this. Like maybe the scene where he drops his son off at daycare, something like that. It's been a while since I've seen the movie. So, but just adding in one specific scene and just giving me like one or two sentences that describes this, that shows that there was that genuine passion there, will go a long way to kind of help solidify that paragraph and really show that there was good character development through the acting choices. They touch on music, which is awesome. Again, if you don't really pay attention to music, you don't have to address that. But here he does a pretty good job about how they kind of use the same musical themes throughout the book, and how they use soft and gentle music throughout that to kind of just set the emotional tone of the scene. And I would probably use that wording more. This lady who produces the music throughout the movie with her soft and gentle music, I would say how it can create an emotional appeal through that. So yes, overall decent job on the music paragraph, maybe just a little bit more about how it helps tie into emotions, which would go into the next paragraph nicely. So emotion is what fuels this extravagant film, the relationship between father and son, the excellent dialogue, gives maximum emotional impact. I would probably also bring in the music too, to kind of show that this is what is driving this and what is making it so significant. And maybe just add a very small, this one actually could almost work as a conclusion paragraph. This one is kind of short, so I might actually recommend that the student take these 2 sentences and attach it there, in order to make it, so you don't have a paragraph that only has 2 sentences, because they are also giving their recommendation, that they highly recommended and it's worth the effort to see. So, overall, the student has a good start to this, but they just need a few more little tweaks, a few more little details in order to really kind of bring it home. But yes, but with some revisions, this has the opportunity to be a really good paper and an excellent example. So if you do have any questions, feel free to text me or email me. I am still checking all of those things. And if you just get to working on this and aren't sure if it's gelling or not, feel free to send me your rough draft, since we're not going to be doing a peer review on this particular one. And I would be more than happy to take a look at it before you turn it in for a grade.